Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Conor McGilligan YouTube channel. What's going on in your world? Let me know in the comment section below. We are back talking about the biggest game in the Championship season so far. It's Sunderland coming to Leeds United, coming to Ellen Road, and the clash of the Titans here at this level. Two exceptionally supported clubs will cultivate a quite staggering atmosphere, I'm sure of it, on Monday evening. Sunderland have got a good record at Leeds United. Not lost there since 2002, albeit they played there about 7 times. But at the same sort of point of view, Sunderland, even last season, looked okay at Ellen Road. Leeds didn't really pose that much of a threat. But, Sunderland are a much more evolved side right now. Now, I want to speak about Sunderland to start off with. Let's go back to the Stadium of Light. Let's go back to what it was last time out. Leeds United versus Sunderland. I thought Sunderland were excellent, absolutely excellent in the first 20-25 minutes. Joe Bellingham missing a gilt-edged chance of which, would have put the Black Cats ahead. They felt aggrieved a little bit as well by the Joel Peru goal, which was obviously deemed by many as offside. Leeds then, obviously toward the back end of the game, conceded an absolute howler through Ilan Meslier, and if Leeds would have won that game, obviously Leeds would have been on a much better points tally right now, and it does see a lot of Leeds fans looking back to that game and thinking, how on earth did we not win that game? But listen, overall it's a really intriguing game. That game in particular, Leeds had 2.42 XG to Sunderland's 1.62, which is quite a significant increase, and it's very good for a team away from home. The shot total for that game, Leeds had 15 shots, Sunderland had 14. It was very close, but it was a really good away performance from Leeds United, who at that stage, I think a lot of fans were thinking to themselves, I don't know what's going on here, because Leeds away from home wasn't ideal. But Sunderland were really dangerous in that first 30 minutes. I thought Leeds started to really take control sort of towards the back end of the first half and into the second half. I thought Leeds were the better team, and the stats do reflect that. 2 big chances missed by Leeds United in that second half as well. When you're looking at Ramazani's big miss and obviously Aronson's big miss when he sort of took the ball off Junior Firpo's toes, he was about to put it in the back of the net. But Sunderland, I thought, were probably Leeds' biggest test of the season, and they were at the time. They were top of the table. They had lost against Plymouth and Watford in the last 5, of which they've rectified, which has been really impressive by Sunderland. They've not lost in 5. On top of that as well, they've made sure they turned around that Watford result, albeit it's not the ideal result. They've turned around that Plymouth result because they've not lost, which has been a real improvement for Sunderland. But you do look at that game in particular, I do think if it was a boxing match, I think Leeds would have won that game, and they were unlucky at the end. But Sunderland, I felt, gave Leeds United that night their toughest game of the season. They looked a constant threat. Now let's revert back as well. Let's go a little bit further on. Let's look at the style of play of both sides. So Daniel Farke likes to build up in a vertical system. He also right now has put a lot of emphasis, in my opinion, post the Blackburn draw, where Leeds were just kind of getting fuddled a little bit by low blocks and mid blocks. He's put a lot of emphasis on Leeds pressing high out wide, and this has been evidenced by Leeds United's data going through the roof really when it comes to recoveries in the final third. Manor Solomon topping the bill currently with over 2 recoveries in the final third per game, which basically means that Leeds are a little bit of a demon out of possession as well. And I think we've seen that in some of the games recently where Leeds haven't been completely dominant in possession, but we've just been absolutely ruthless on that counter-attack, of which I think is a real interesting way that Leeds United can look toward the Premier League, because if Leeds are to utilise that, similarly to Sunderland, if they're to both utilise a counter-attacking system and they're strong at the back, I think in a strange sort of way, Sunderland and Leeds United would therefore be a little bit more adaptable to the Premier League. Something to keep an eye on with better players as well. So Leeds building up vertically, putting a lot of emphasis on winning the ball back high, wide, which Leeds weren't doing at the start of the season. So something to keep an eye on there when it comes to Leeds and how they might put a little bit of pressure on Try Hume, put a little bit of pressure on Dennis Sirkin. Now, what I will say about Sunderland is those two are some of the best partnerships in the league. I would say they're on par with Junior Firpo and Jayden Bogle. I think those two as a fullback partnership are unbelievable at this level. Hume, specifically this season, 5 assists, has looked outstanding in my opinion, and will go on to be a very, very good player in the English Football League / Premier League. So, yeah, Sirkin, huge, absolutely huge on that left-hand side. And what do we know about Sunderland's style of play? Regis Lebris absolutely puts emphasis on box-to-box midfielders, which you're going to see with Chris Rigg and Joe Bellingham. The other interesting part of this is Alan Brown being back in the side as well. I don't think he's going to start, but he's going to be on the bench as well. That really facilitates Sunderland's midfield a little bit more when it comes to a little bit of experience as well, a little bit of guile and know-how going into the last 14 games of the season. So Sunderland will be bolstered massively by the returns, and it does give them a little bit more of a stylistically different approach to football games. But what I will say is on the style of play, it's very similar. The build-up, it is very, very similar, but Sunderland do like to prioritise a little bit more building up out wide, and they like 1v1s. Regis Lebris absolutely loves 1v1s, and that's why the return of Romain Mundle is going to be really interesting, because I actually think Enzo Lafay's work wide left has been underrated. I think you look at his agility, I think people for some reason characterise Enzo Lafay as a slow player. He's not a slow player, and really in football all you need is that 5 to 7 yards. 5 to 7 yards acceleration. He's got reasonably good balance and agility, maybe even very good balance and agility, definitely very good balance. And he's basically able to get a crossing, which you've seen. I think with Enzo Lafay, a lot of the time when he's been wide left, it's get the ball out of his feet. And if he doesn't feel that he's going to pivot inside, he'll get the ball out of his feet very quickly and whip it in. And with that left foot, it's very dangerous. So I don't actually think it's a bad option, Sunderland starting with him wide left. And it's very different to what happened last time, where it was Mundle versus Bogle. And obviously on the other side, Patrick Roberts versus Junior Firpo. It's a little bit different, and Bogle won't have come up against anybody like Enzo Lafay this season. So something to keep an eye on there. But they will prioritise these 1v1s, and Romain Mundle coming back in gives them a whole different dynamic now. Sunderland, in terms of out-and-out wingers, just going at fullbacks, which is what he prioritises. We've mentioned earlier about the returning Alan Brown being a part of the squad, but Lebris emphasises box-to-box midfielders, and that's why Joe Bellingham is so important to Sunderland. He's back in this one as well. Chris Rigg, is he going to have a little bit more licence to get forward? You look at his goal against Leeds United last time, it was so box-to-box-esque. He was in the Leeds United's box, consistently trying to get on the end of things, and that's what both teams do, which is why this is going to be such an intriguing game. They pile forward. Both teams absolutely pile forward. It's excellent for the neutral, and they've both got such quality. There's definitely a conversation of who has the better midfield as well. This game will be won and lost in midfield for me, obviously, and maybe goalkeepers not making mistakes, but I think it's going to be a lot tighter than people think, because I think it's going to be, you know, your Pacquiao Mayweather punch for punch, because both teams obviously, not only the Leeds prioritise vertical build up and winning the ball high on the opposition fullbacks and the ball recoveries, and then hurting teams with that turnover. But Sunderland prioritising building up out wide and hitting Leeds with 1v1s, and that almost triangular approach that Marcelo Bielsa brought to the Leeds United side, where it was the central midfielder, the left winger and the left back making little almost patterns of play by themselves in the corner, almost like little triangles in the corner, and trying to overload. And that's exactly what Leeds United, not so much of the triangular build-up and the triangular sort of combinations in the final third, but overloads. Leeds prioritise the overloads, and it's very, very obvious. And you look back at the Stadium of Light, and Junior Firpo was almost acting as a winger. He was just a winger in that game. So it's going to be fascinating to see how much Regis Lebris prioritises these overloads when he knows how quick and good at the minute Leeds United are on the counter-attack. I think the difference between the two teams right now is clinical. That's just the one word. Ruthlessness, another word. I think this is the difference between Sunderland and Leeds United at the minute, and that's why at the minute I am giving the edge to Leeds United. I am going to go with a 2-1 win for Leeds, but I do think when you look at it overall, this is such a fascinating matchup across the pitch. I think these are the two best footballing teams in the division by a country mile. I think Sunderland's build-up play is very thorough, it's very clean. I think Leeds United are just so efficient at this moment in time and a beautiful team to watch at this level. And I think there's going to be key focus really on the midfield. It's won and lost in there for me. Can it just absolutely clip me up there? Do you hear that car beep? Flipping heck. Didn't expect that. But yeah, so Al Tanaka, I think we all know, is going to be. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Lafitte. Does Sunderland start? Does Mundle start? Therefore, does Enzo Lafitte go centrally? That's going to be a task for Al Tanaka. But the other way, Lafitte is going to have to work diligently, absolutely diligently, to stop the threat of Al Tanaka, the tempo dictator, the metronome in that midfield. But Leeds, on the other hand, have got Bellingham, Rigg, potentially Lafitte to deal with. It is such an interesting game. There are matchups across the entire pitch. You've also got the fullbacks of Dennis Sirkin and Tri Hume as well, especially when Sunderland are prioritising that wide build-up and prioritising 1v1s. How involved are they going to be in this game? You'd expect massively. And yeah, I mean, it's got draw written all over it, and it like it was last time out. But I'm expecting a better Sunderland, but I'm expecting a better Leeds United. So therefore, I'm expecting a better game. Now, you guys all know that this is a neutral channel, but you all know as well that I'm a Leeds United fan. So it's hard for me to turn around and not sort of emulate what I've been saying on my own channel and other channels as well. I think Leeds might edge this one. But I don't think it's going to be one of those where you look at and go, Leeds were dominant in that game. I think Sunderland will lose, but I think they're going to lose valiantly. And I've sort of said that everywhere. This is the game of which I've been looking at and thinking, ooh, because I just think quality-wise, all across the pitch, there's an abundance really, and it feels like this season in particular, Sunderland's recruitment, their data-led model, has eventually come to the top. You know, the cream has risen. The recruitment, who they've invested in, the Moneyball approach has eventually got to this stage of which it's proven to be such an incredible level, and they can compete and beat anyone on their day. So, I mean, I don't think there's any likelihood here. I don't think there's any sort of null and void scenario. I think Sunderland could win, and that wouldn't be a shock to me. I think there could be a draw. That wouldn't shock me. And I think Leeds could win. That's how tight it is right now. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Where do you think the key battles are going to be? I've just been walking about today. Sometimes I do this. Just get my thoughts out. And yeah, let me know what you think. We've not even spoken about Isidore. We've not even spoken about Joel Peru as well. Obviously, Peru on 14 goals. Isidore with a little bit of an injury scare Wednesday night. Is he going to be able to play the full game against Leeds United? We'll have to wait and see. Isidore on 11 goals. For me, Premier League ready, that boy. Absolutely Premier League ready. He's got all the attributes to be a Premier League centre forward, one to keep an eye on. We've barely spoken about him, to be honest. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What do you think the outcome's going to be? It stinks of a draw, doesn't it? Which I don't think would be bad for either side. But the question at the top of the programme was, Sunderland sort of need this, and I think they do. I think when you look at it, I don't think Sunderland can afford to let, you know, Sheffield United have almost that sort of like 8-point lead, Leeds having that 10-point lead over them. I obviously know, you know, we've got 14 games to go. There's a lot of points to play for. When you look at the setup of both sides, and when you look at the amount that's left and what each team has got to give, you know, Mundle being back, Brown being back, all this sort of stuff, massive level for Sunderland to get to, with these two being back and what they can do in terms of variance of the side. But I just think that Sunderland, there's more pressure on them to come out and beat Leeds in this game. And it's a statement of intent as well. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.